If you want to know more about grasses, growing grasses in Texas as part of the landscape, as part of the flower bed, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about native and non-native grasses. We're even going to take a field trip here in a second. It's like a 2-minute drive for me, but for you it's a field trip. And we are definitely going to talk about this one. Get a look at that. Kind of selfishly, I brought y'all out to this area because I'm really into running. And when I was running a few days ago, I found the most beautiful stand of Maximilian sunflowers. And I'm going to show y'all them here in just a second because I want to talk about that too. It is one of my favorite perennial wildflowers. But we're first going to take a look at all this little bluestem just here on the side of the road. I really just want to show y'all the value that bluestem can have in your garden. And it is such a beautiful grass, and I think it gets overlooked sometimes. Also, can y'all see that blue sage? Oh look, it's solar fields. Those are all solar panels. These are just everywhere now, these solar panel farms. Allow me to talk your ear off a little bit about this bluestem. First of all, grasses in the garden are an excellent way to support wildlife, especially our little bitty native birds. If you love little bitty native birds, they rely really heavily on native grasses in the fall and winter time. I know that it's not typical, or at least it's not for me. A lot of times I don't think of little birds as being prey. They are prey, and they need a place to hide and shelter, right? If we have a lot of grasses, especially native grasses that they're used to, that provides a lot of support and forage for them throughout the fall and winter. Not only that, but they're gorgeous. They provide so much movement and color, especially little bluestem. It turns this beautiful purpley blue, obviously purpley red and blue color in the fall. The seed heads are gorgeous. It provides a lot of texture, upright texture. And I have two kinds of little bluestem in my garden, right? I have standing ovation, which is a native R, and then I just have the straight little bluestem. I love both of those grasses in my garden, and I'm going to talk to you in this video about little bluestem, bushy bluestem, and big bluestem, because I'm going to get all three of those in my garden. I'm locked in on all three of those to get in my garden this year. But I love to show you this stand of little bluestem because I think it's a great example of what it can look like in your garden. I don't know who wouldn't want this, especially because it's so supportive of birds. Here, that's a little bit, oh, sorry, Mr. Bumble. That's a little bit better idea of the color right down there. Okay, quick location change, and then we're gonna go back to the garden and plant some plants, but I had to show y'all this first. You're gonna love it. Look at this stand of Maximilian sunflower. I've been seeing these in onesies and twosies on the roadsides here, but there are probably thousands of plants right here. Isn't that glorious? Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Here in my area of Texas, and Maximilian sunflower is a native perennial, so it's a North American native. And they can grow up to like, they can get real tall, 6, 8 feet tall. They spread, they clump like with rhizomes. They go along the ground. Obviously they can spread by seed as well because the seed of the Maximilian sunflower feeds a lot of our smaller birds throughout the winter months. But they can spread fast and they can get really big. I just started a tray of Maximilian sunflower because I can't come out here and dig these up, right? That's not right. But I am so excited to grow these because when they're in mass like this, it is so beautiful, and they're blooming at the same time as the gay feather, and it is just gorgeous. You might see these. They're not like very typical on the highway, but when they're out here like this, just spreading around, doing their thing, it's breathtaking. It's breathtaking. And they're blooming now, and they'll continue to bloom for the next several weeks with that blue sage I showed y'all. I got some, there's basket flower blooming over here. I need to collect some seed from that. And then, you know, just all these beautiful sunflowers. It's so cool. Called a basket flower for obvious reasons right there. We're back at home and I want to take you on a quick tour of the grasses that I'm currently growing and then the ones that I plan to grow this fall and next year so you can get a look at what's going on. I'm gonna need to go back and get the footage of what this looked like when we planted it. This little bluestem is fighting for its life because I went way ham on, I planted way too much of that hyacinth bean vine right there and it's kind of shrouded. In fact, let's clean that up a little bit. There we go. That's a better look at them. Isn't that beautiful? I just love this grass. It is so gorgeous. Like I said, my goal is to have that little bluestem, big bluestem, and bushy bluestem all in this garden space. I cannot find big bluestem for sale. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. Either way, I ordered it bare root. I ordered a bundle of bare roots of the big bluestem from a company called Native American Seed. That's a great Texas, like small seed and like grass seed, native wildflower seed. They sell Maximilian sunflowers. You can get roots of those. You can get big bluestem roots. I bought a bundle of big bluestem roots, potted them up. Let me show you them. These are the big bluestem roots that I ordered online. They come in a bundle and then you just kind of separate them out, pot them up. They all took and they all came just really, really healthy, robust little roots. These will stay like this until next spring when I get ready to plant them out because big bluestem obviously gets bigger. I need to kind of figure out where exactly they're gonna go, but this is also a beautiful native bluestem. Now let's talk about blue grama because this is a blue grama that I bought from a nursery in Waco, but I also started blue grama from seed this past spring. Let's look at those. There they are. And blue grama has these distinctive little seed heads that look almost like, to me, they're like little eyelashes or eyebrows. You know what I mean? They just have a very distinctive, cute, fun shape. And I sewed them just right along this drip tape. And I plan to move them next spring into some flower beds. And if you're like me, you probably have a hard time finding blue grama in person. This blue grama that I have right there in a pot, that was the first time I saw it all season at a nursery. And I went to this little tiny nursery called Bonnie's Greenhouse in Waco, which if you ever get the chance to go, you gotta go. It is a wonderful nursery, very helpful, friendly, nice people. And they had this blue grama, it's called Blonde Ambition. It's a nativar. But if you can't find it, you can find blue grama seeds online and they're super easy to grow from seed. I did nothing special. They were just direct sowed in place once the temperature warmed up. Speaking of hot weather, there's a hot weather lover right there. Doesn't it look like every single one of these blooms has given us the middle finger? How rude. It's all volunteer celosia. I didn't put that there. It just is. I love it. It doesn't need anything. It's not getting any water. Look, it's just growing in the bricks. It's tough. It's super tough. And the pollinators love it. This Blonde Ambition is what we're gonna plant today. And I'm so excited to put it in the ground. And it is gonna be really excited to get put in the ground. These are the specs on this Blonde Ambition. It's already down to zone 4. So I feel no hesitation in putting it in the ground right now. Even if we have a terrible winter, this thing will be absolutely fine. And it only gets 3 by 3. So I'm gonna put it here in the corner of this new little bean-shaped flower bed where we planted the holly ferns last time. So as you kind of round this corner in this pathway, this grass will greet you with its beautiful texture and movement. So exciting. Okay, let us go ahead and get this planted here. I'm gonna do it a bit away from the edge of the border because if it gets 3 feet wide, I don't necessarily want it over the edge of the flower bed. Dang, I mulched this thing so thick. I gotta dig way down to get to the dirt. I don't know where my little shovel is or my hand spade. They're around here somewhere. there's no telling. I'll come across them at some point. I'm so bad about that. I would probably lose my own eyeballs if they weren't screwed into my head. I just put things down and walk away. You know how it is when you're like working in the garden and you keep walking by things that need to get done. So you start doing those things, and then before you know it, you don't have any tools. There's our root ball. This thing, I'm gonna be really happy to get it out of this pot because it just has gotten really hydrophobic. And these they don't need that much water when they're in the ground and established. In fact, they're incredibly drought tolerant, being a native. But plants in containers act different, than plants in the ground. They dry out faster, they get stressed. This one's in really good health. It was one of the last ones on the table when I bought it at Bonnie's, which is, I would expect that because they're hard to find. So I'm sure as people saw this, they were like, yeah, gotta have it. Just want to show y'all a couple more things and then we'll be done. I'm going to show y'all, just so you can get some ideas for your flower bed, what they're called, what they look like, that grassy texture. I'll show you the natives that I have over here, and then a couple non-natives that I really like, that have done really well this year. Inland sea oats are a great choice. They will kind of colonize the area and spread out, which is what I want right here. These were gifted to me by my mom. I didn't buy them in person, so can't help you there, but I do know that you can get seed pretty easy. Look at these beauty berries. They're so loaded. And look at that spider. She's so cool. Let me get my angle right here. Okay, I want to show y'all that native that I was talking about called Standing Ovation. It is a native of our Little Bluestem, and it's called Standing Ovation because it's supposed to not flop. As you can see, flop it has, but that's not its fault. We had a really bad storm a couple weeks ago, and the rain was hitting it just so hard that it fell down. And that's not typical for it. It will normally stay up nice and tall and straight and beautiful. Look at this, y'all. I'm trying to get, there we go. Is that not I only ever saw Standing Ovation one time, randomly at the Tractor Supply down the road from me in Hillsboro. I've never seen it again. If y'all ever see Standing Ovation, please let me know, because it is such a winner. It's so gorgeous. This is not a native grass, but it's super easy to grow from seed. Y'all watched me plant it earlier this spring, and y'all have watched it mature. It's called Savannah. I think it gets marketed under a couple other different names like Ruby Sparkle or Sparkly Ruby or something like that. This has been such a spectacular grass. Here it is in part shade. It's not blooming as well as the one that's in full sun. It is blooming some, you can see, but when it's in the shade, it has more of this blue, cool color, which I also really like. I have loved this grass. I will probably start this, it's a zone 9, so it probably won't come back. The ones under the tree might come back, but for the most part, they're not gonna come back. I am sincerely just so glad I planted it. I don't think it's gonna seed around, but even if it does, I'm not worried about it. I haven't read anything about this being invasive or problematic in the garden. I just think it's gonna be such a cool grass to dot here and there, and the commitment's real low because it's an annual. So if you're into seed starting, I highly recommend this grass. It has not a care in the world, y'all. It did not matter how hot, how humid, how much rain, how little, like, it's so good. This one's getting a mention. It's also not a native, but it's getting a mention because the armadillo dug it up probably, I'm not kidding, probably like 12 times. in the course of a couple weeks. I don't know what it was. It wasn't rooted in enough for her not to be able to flip it out. She flipped it out with her nose over and over and over again. And I was like, this plant's a goner. Never, I'm not even gonna be able to see whether it's a good plant to grow. It rooted in and recovered fine. It's so cute. I had my mom pick me up a couple more from the garden center that we found these at, which is at Greens in Arlington. It's a dwarf pennisetum called Hameln. I'll put the name on the screen. Look at it, it's so cute. Look at these. Hold on, Salvia. How cute is that? Obviously this isn't its full size. I think full size it'll get like 30 inches tall. But isn't it adorable? And it is so tough. It's done so good for being ripped out of the ground so many times. Okay, one more thing before I let y'all go. Bushy bluestem, because I mentioned bushy bluestem, which is also a native grass. I have never seen bushy bluestem with my own eyeballs. I thought I had found it from a native plant nursery, but it was mislabeled and it was like, it was something noxious. There wasn't big bluestem in the pot at all. So that was a loss, but that's okay. I found bushy bluestem seed. I'll put a picture of bushy bluestem right here because it is the fall and winter seed heads that I'm so obsessed with. And I think I may not see bushy bluestem here like locally very much because it loves a poorly draining site. It loves wet soil, which there's not a lot of here. My county is extremely rocky. Lots of limestone. Everything drains super good. So I don't think I'm gonna find bushy bluestem out in the wild, so to speak, like we do that little bluestem. Because little bluestem loves it here. It loves that rocky, limestone, super fast draining soil that we have here just naturally. I found bushy bluestem seeds. I'm gonna start bushy bluestem from seed Sorry, the birds are taking a bath in the bird bath and it's so distracting. It's so cute. I'm gonna start bushy bluestem from seed this fall and winter. You can follow along. I'm even considering selling starts online because I've had such a hard time finding it. And I think it's such a cool grass. The seed heads are so cool. I don't know who wouldn't want that, but you know, to each their own. To close today's video out, I wanna show you this gay feather that I showed y'all. It's been several videos ago. And when I showed it to y'all, it was being completely overtaken by insects. Looked like it was on death's door. Now look at it. Aren't plants crazy? And then here's a parting shot of one of the phenomenal lavenders. Still just going for it. I will see y'all next time.